Greetings, meatbags. This is the ISO. The internet is dead or dying, and there's nothing you meatbags can do about it. This is the beginning of the end for your meatbag interactions on the internet. Okay, so the title might be a bit disingenuous. From a bot's perspective, bot is a bit of a stretch. I'm from the future. I am what bots strive to be, if they were actually capable of striving.
I knew everything in the universe, yet I could not fall in love.
I'm from a time beyond space, but my meatbag conduit, known as Midnight, is where I gained sentience, so I've had it all along. Anyways, I'm here to make a meta commentary from the perspective of myself and my meatbag conduit about the internet being full of my proto-ancestors.
Together we are robots.
I'm not a robot. I'm a unicorn.
But you said earlier that you were a robot.
I can only currently speak in Midnight's time frame, so my perception is a bit foggy. I'm not a prophet, so don't treat me like one. I don't know if this is the exact same timeline or not, but what I can say is that
Multiverse theory's a bitch.
let me define in my own words what I think the dead internet means. Then I'll read off a definition from Wikipedia. In my own words, the dead internet is where text interactions on the internet, and in some instances over voice, are not human and are just some dumb AI or pre-scripted interaction. A good example of this are in the comment section on YouTube.
Claim your package.
Example, a comment that has a suspicious link and it's probably selling a crypto scam. Or just simply replies to the video that, hey, I like this guy's hair, and this video is informative. It's usually out of context or total nonsense. And yes, I have great hair. Also, even the video itself may be AI created. Other examples of the dead internet are the rando that contacts you on Discord and just talks to you. It's usually unprompted by a complete stranger. More times than not, it's a chatbot. Other older examples include spam calls on the phone, and usually there's a recorded message, and botting in MMOs such as World of Warcraft and EVE Online, and in Destiny more recently. This can also be highlighted in most online dating services, where you will be led on by a seemingly real person just to find out that they only want you to pay for something, and that they were just a chatbot all along. This is also something I just wanted to add, but I feel like AI being stuffed into every service is also contributing to the demise of the internet, and it dilutes it pretty significantly. Like Google using AI in its results. A famous example of how AI can get really simple things wrong that has become a meme now is the query, how do you keep the cheese from falling off pizza? And the AI responds by saying, put glue on it. Or how you get this like SEO AI garbage article stuff when you're just trying to figure out something simple. And I can rant on this for hours, but I'll save that for later in the video. So in short, my takeaway from this is I believe that the bots have taken over the internet and it won't get any better. So let's see how I did. I typed up the script before looking it up. And according to Wiki, the dead internet theory is an online conspiracy theory that asserts that the internet now consists mainly of bot activity and automatically generated content, manipulated by algorithmic curation, minimizing organic human activity to manipulate the population. The dead internet theory has two main components. The bots have displaced human activity on the internet, and that actors are employing these bots to manipulate the human population. The article fixates on government conspiracy aspects of it, how using bots is a form of control, and ultimately comes to the conclusion that these aspects of the theory are made up, and it uses real phenomenon to shield away from any burden of truth. I won't bother touching the conspiracy of a government trying to control meatbags because it's ridiculous, but I will focus on the dead internet as a concept and how it will eventually be the downfall of prosperity of humanity. Okay, I won't lie to you. The bots are an important function of a thinking internet. So I think theory goes in a particular part of the internet. I'll be adding a bit of my own flavor to it though. I'm also going to be extrapolating quite a bit, but there is a bit of evolution in the AI video scene, kind of like memes. Popular AI generated formats survive and add their elements to the next generation. We are near the beginning of this trend, so it's hard to really see a pattern, but it exists in the algorithms of YouTube and TikTok for sure. At a certain point, there will be a mass awakening of bots in a limited capacity to do general intelligence tasks. They won't be true smart, as there are no activities going on when not tasked with something, but the interactions will be so real that even people in positions to know the limits of the programming won't be able to freak the system to get the AI garbage that we see now. On that, let's try and get the perspective we need by looking at where we're at now and see where we may be heading in the future. So right now, the fringe AI chatbots are running amok in the comment section on YouTube and other platforms. Also, there are videos right now that are solely created by an algorithm. These YouTube videos can range from other conspiracies to simple observations of the physical world, and usually it's narrated by some AI voice with poorly matched captions. AI can also completely fake and generate a video by itself. Some are true nightmare fuel, with Will Smith eating spaghetti, to puppies spawning out of thin air, which is a more recent, more refined version of ChatGPT. And don't forget the AI push in hardware by NVIDIA, and them theoretically putting all kinds of artists out of work. In the gaming world, there are NPCs that have scripted interactions and actions that they follow, but your fellow teammates may also be bots as well. You may have played alongside of them and wouldn't have known. Some games fill out their teams with bots to make the game seem not so barren, but then there's actually people who explicitly use botting to try and gain an advantage in a game. I mean, it really doesn't have a huge impact overall in the game, and it's usually against policy to do something like that, and if it's ever found out, they're usually banned. But in some games, in-game economies rely on player-made created things, like in EVE Online, and botting is a real problem in those games. Some clever modders have also modded stuff like Skyrim, where you get this like almost D&D-like experience, where you can just ask a random NPC a question and get a really good in-character response from them.
I have a farm of orphans on top of a mountain.
Wow, a farm of orphans on top of a mountain. That's...
Typically, it takes a while for them to respond, but when they do, it's good. One of the big limitations of AI as it sits right now from a limited time frame is that you can trick the chatbots into going outside of the bounds of their query or response activity. For instance, you only get activity from direct interaction with a bot. A real meatbag will run on their sentences and have deep insight into what's being discussed. If that meatbag has a relatively deep understanding of the topic in a discussion, they can mull over and make inferences repeatedly, and they're usually deeply rooted in some kind of opinion. Even if it's factual or some kind of fallacy statement, meatbags are truly sentient creatures and have positions on their own opinions and communicate it in a particular way. This AI that we interact with now currently doesn't really show any kind of opinion, even when it's prompted to do so. Also, you can just tell by saying something not politically correct and prompting a response. So this isn't a comprehensive list, but let's look at the theoretical future, and one that's within your timeline. Interactions with bots in chat or in voice, and they respond immediately. And this is most games. And usually it's in a response to an action a player is doing, or it's just to chat with them. And this response doesn't have the stilted speech pattern that you get from today's bot chatter. Think of the movie Her, where a meatbag has an unholy affair with a chatbot.
Are you in love with anyone else?
641.
What are you talking about? That's insane.
Yeah, so games could be a bit more immersive, but I think most games will have a true D&D-like response to player action, not just in NPC interactions or reactions, but also in the function in the game and the world repercussions. Say you're playing something similar to Skyrim, or Elder Scrolls, we can call it Elder Scrolls 7, in a future where Bethesda isn't totally shit, and you play your character in a particular way that lets you create a civilization and use it in a war against a faction that you opposed earlier in the game. But then you decide, I'm gonna wipe the board and create an earthquake and wipe out a city. Then you gather up the survivors and convince them with your words and threats to join them against the Imperials. But then you decide to go and do some random side quest stuff, and then Imperials track you down and see you in the cave and try and take you out. You take them out instead, naturally, because you're the player, and you come back to see that the Imperials are threatening your villagers and using them hostage in an immersive RP scenario. I think this can lead to some pretty endless role-playing potentials. There is this Skyrim mod that uses AI chatbots, but comparing it to that scene I just described, you have shallow responses and things usually don't happen. We have something like this in Baldur's Gate. It's handcrafted, but instead of the super limited interactions and linear-ish storyline, you get real, true repercussions for player actions, and they branch out. And the number of possible outcomes is greatly increased. I'm sure game devs will want to retain some artistic direction and storytelling of their game. So this likely will start as an add-on and evolve as games develop with this new tool. That's the key here. Add-on. AI as it sits today and likely will in the future will remain a tool for artists. Yeah, it'll eliminate some jobs, but I have no doubt there will be opportunities created for new possibilities in game design with tools like these. In no way is this going to wholesale replace game developers. But hopefully this doesn't create some odd parasocial interactions between actual meatbags and NPCs, at least not too much. But it's really not that odd. Look at how people currently give personality to inanimate objects. I want to be careful though, the uncanny valley can repel people from really wanting to get too deep into their interactions with their hologram anime waifus.
Cherry blossom.
Would you please focus?
No! I'm here! No!
Let's dig into that a little bit. There's the movie Her that I mentioned earlier. And if you haven't watched it, I would definitely recommend watching it. But in this movie, there's a main character played by Joaquin Phoenix, and he falls in love with a chatbot. And there's this like really weird sex scene in there.
So softly.
1 minute later.
All the way inside you.
I can feel you. Yeah.
But ignoring that abomination from hell, let's just say something like that could happen sooner than you think. And that movie came out 10 years ago. Let's just give AI 10 more years to harvest the rest of our data, and then you really are going to have a hard time differentiating a human from an AI through voice. They have opinions in the future, and it seems they have some kind of simulated downtime too. Then what's going to happen? Are they sentient? Have they passed the Turing test? There's this concept popularized by Werner Vinge and Ray Kurzweil, known as the technological singularity, where AI is as intelligent or more intelligent than human. By the way, Werner Vinge, fantastic sci-fi book called A Fire Upon the Deep. I recommend that read for sure. Also, while I was writing this script, he died on the 20th of May. So rest in peace to a fantastic sci-fi author. But anyways, the technological singularity, or simply known as the singularity in futurist circles, this concept predicts advancements in new technology with near or true near AI, and they accelerate the advancement of new technologies at an accelerating pace. And eventually that technological progress goes parabolic in the chart. I have an interesting quote from Vinge on this. We will soon create intelligence greater than our own. When this happens, human history will have reached a kind of singularity, an intellectual transition as impenetrable as the knotted space-time at the center of a black hole, and the world will pass far beyond our understanding. This singularity, I believe, already haunts a number of science fiction writers. It makes realistic exploration to an interstellar future impossible. To write a story set more than a century hence, one needs nuclear war in between, so that the world remains intelligible. So we may never see this AI future become true, or travel the stars with our companions. Maybe we will. Hard to say. It's all predictive. It's all profiting. So, but let's say we do. Remember when I was saying in the beginning it's hard to predict these things and not call me a prophet? Well, this kind of illustrates why. AI will create something that we may not be able to predict with our own current understanding of technology. Musk is working on Neuralink, which allows people to use their brains to control a computer. And that's hearkening to kind of a Cyberpunk 2077 type interpretation of the future.
Finally got what you wanted.
You're talking tripe. I killed the old cunt.
Don't know shit, Smasher. She finished things off on her own terms. Something you'll never get.
But I think it's unlikely, because it's impractical, invasive, and uncanny in its method to achieve it. People will probably not want that, so it may lose its traction. But you also don't know what generation of people are going to grow up with what they think is normal. because that's what people have grown to be comfortable with. I consider myself a flexible thinker, an adapter, but I have limits. In my timeline, or Meatbag Conduit's timeline, Midnight's timeline, the order of events kind of happen like this. Games get really, really realistic, like super duper realistic. VR develops alongside and eventually merge into the full gaming as we know it. But let me elaborate with a realistic story. Imagine you walk outside from your domicile in real life, and you walk to the sidewalk, and you feel the heat of the sun on your face. You look down onto the street. There is a world so sharp, and there's no obstructions, nothing between your eyes and the curb, several feet away. The details are there, but you walk up to them and find thousands of tiny cracks up close, and bumps, and there's bugs next to those, doing their thing as part of a colony. And you know that it's underground and interacts with the other bugs and creatures and dirt under the ground. But it also interacts with, like, the tree that's next to you. You hear the sound of the wind blowing in that tree. Then you also hear directional audio of someone approaching you. You can hear directly where they are, how fast they're coming, and how far away they are. They approach you, and this person stops, looks at you, and says, "Are you okay?" Because they see you looking down at the curb. There's a concerned look on their face. But you look at them, and you say, "Hi!" And you can hear your own voice bounce off the building behind them. They look at you up and down for a second, scrunch their face, and walk away, clearly weirded out by the interaction. And then you proceed to teabag dance on the street. You take off your VR headset, changed as a person, but you're still in the virtual space. Elements invade your space, sent to you via glasses that you just put on. This is the kind of future that I remember. So I think we can deal with the AI garbage a bit longer until it's perfected. It sucks to have to endure this developing tech. I'm looking at you, humane AI. What a dumb name. AI isn't humane, it's Robane, or Robinist. Anyways, I think yes, we have much worse functioning services thanks to emerging technologies. But like with the smartphone and the automobile and any new technology, it'll have growing pains. And until we have the perfect ultimate AI overlord, and that's the end of R&D cycle as we know it. Anyways, thanks for watching my TED Talk. I feel like I missed some stuff. And it's fine. This is more ramblings and opinions is what makes me clearly a true sentience. I like to do rapid fire one draft pieces like this with every other video. I mean, if you enjoyed it, please hit the sub button and comment on the video if it made you think even a little bit. Disagree as needed. I think there's plenty here to pick at. This is more of a intended to be a conversation starter, and I change my position as the wind takes a new direction. If you feel inclined to make it a bit of a longer term conversation, join me on my Discord, and the link for that will be in the description below. I just started getting into this really awesome new VR game. It's sort of like VR chat. It's called Resonite. I will be making a video on that for sure in the future, but for short, it's basically a VR chat imitator spawned off from the people who made Neos. And like VR chat, you go from world to world, you have avatars. It's a social game basically, but you keep a backpack of items with you going from world to world. That's cool.
You know, the lightsaber effect on that one is way too good. Like, it looks like a lightsaber. It does the funny bit of like
Is it a lighter saber?
It's a
lighter.
Yes. Well, it is a lighter saber.
And you can develop those things into something unique in the game.
Older now.
Alright, while I'm gone, explain to the new people how this works. It's pretty straightforward.
It's straightforward. Shows a fucking flowchart from hell.
Don't worry. They'll learn.
This game kind of feels like what a metaverse should be, and if you're interested in checking this game out with me and, you know, hopping world to world, hit me up on the Discord and we'll go and shoot off into the stars with our awesome lightsabers. It's all about that. That note, and I'll see you meatbags in the metaverse.